from school. The police intercepted us on the way.
One of the April 10 and 11 victims has urged the Truth, Reconciliation, Reparation Commissions to come up with good recommendations for the April 2000 students' riot. At least 8 people were reported dead in the US due to freezing temperatures brought in by an Arctic air known as the polar vortex. EU diplomats have agreed that after Brexit, British citizens should be granted visa-free travel. The Tough Leadership Academy program gets underway yesterday with 50 participants from the University of the Gambia. These are the headlines, more coming on your way on The World Today. It's 1 a.m. in Istanbul and 2 p.m. in Washington State, 2200 GMT here in the Gambia. You're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. We now kick off with our first story. The Tough Leadership Academy program yesterday kicked off at the Madiba Mall at Brufut with 50 participants from the University of the Gambia. The Tough Leadership Academy is an initiation of Tough Africa Global to enhance and nurture young Gambians to become good leaders in the future. The first batch of the academy will last for 12 months with participants expected to converge once every month. I attended the lectures and files in this report. 50 participants from the University of the Gambia yesterday commenced lectures at the Madiba Mall at Brufut under the Tough Leadership Academy program. Speaking at the event, the guest lecturer, Mr. Muhammad Jagana, the CEO of GFIN Money Transfer and President of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, gave a lecture on the theme Futuristic Vision. He said a good leader should possess futuristic visions and have a strong ability to achieve. He added that to be a leader, one has to be open-minded and have the ability to see the future. He pointed out that a leader should be able to make accomplishment for a team rather than for individuals. He revealed that a futuristic leader should be able to imagine, envision, predict, and surface things that would have not been realized.
This ability to see and explain the future is what draws them forward and excites them to purpose to great accomplishments. By putting together a team that share the same values and culture to achieve the team's goal as a success for a team, not for an individual, is what would be a futuristic leader. Futuristic leaders should have the ability to look past the events of today and into the possibilities of tomorrow. They can visualize new ideas, new concepts, new markets, about their customers, their products, their services, strategies, business models, and even for a country. So it's not limited to business. It includes also nations, neighborhood, clubs, or anything. Successful leaders will need to think further into the future and implement ideas in a timely manner to remain competitive in a world that will change faster than we can understand.
The CEO of Tough Africa Global, Mr. Njai, said blaming the government shouldn't be a scapegoat for anybody and they shouldn't wait for the government to uplift them. He continued, his success wasn't based on government, though he knew what the government should do, but waiting for it wouldn't help. Mr. Njai stressed that the reason for this initiative is to prepare them to be able to respond when they get jobs. He added that all he has now is to give back his knowledge and experience to the young leaders of this country.
There are a lot of forums where people talk about government and government relationship. Now I am taking you through my own direction. And my own direction is that I never waited for a government. My success wasn't based on a government. And you are the judge to who I am today. And I think that's what the country needs today. We need to stop the blame game. Yes, we all know what government should do and we always rely on them. Like the way we have our parents. We all look up to our parents and say they've not done enough for us. But very soon you'll get there where you will know what your parents face, why they are not doing these things. The reason why we want to engage you now, as I said earlier, is that you guys in the next 1 year or so, you'll be employed, you have responsibilities. Now the reason why we're launching this initiative, we don't want you guys to go there and not well prepared. Or you start the blame game for whoever is there and not doing it right. So for me personally, I I think I have all the time in the world now for people like yourself.
The TAF Leadership Academy is an initiation of the TAF Africa Global to enhance and nurture young Gambians to become good leaders in the future. The first batch of the academy will last for 12 months, with participants expected to converge once every month. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Al-Hassan Sise.
EU diplomats have agreed that after Brexit, British citizens should be granted visa-free travel, the European Council said on Friday. According to EU rules, visa exemption is granted on condition of reciprocity. The government of the United Kingdom has stated that it does not intend to require a visa from EU citizens traveling to the UK for short stays. The Council said in a statement, it added that visa-free travel will be valid for short stays, 90 days in any 180-day period. In a 2016 referendum, British voters decided to leave the EU after the country's more than 40-year membership. British leaders have raised the possibility of postponing UK's exit date from the EU due to disagreement over terms of the divorce, currently set to take place on March 29. The TRC wrapped up recently at the Rural Development Institute in Mansakonko. The summit, which is part of TRRC outreach program, brought together school children to discuss their future and learn more about the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. Sajo Sambu has more.
Summit organized by the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission ended on Wednesday at the Rural Development Institution in Mansakonko. The summit ended with a presentation of recommendations from participants to the organizers on what they want or wish to be included in the future constitution. The gathering offers the kids, especially those from the inland country, not only the platform to speak out their mind, but also educate the students about the mandate and the role of the TRRC. The Youth and Children Network Coordinator at the TRRC, Babukar Sam, who facilitated the trip, couldn't hide his satisfaction on the level contributions from the participants during the two-day summit. When I caught up with him after the closing ceremony, I asked Mr. Sambu why the need for the Children's Summit.
We are doing this summit because of one reason, that children are the future of this country. You know very well the Gambia's population is over 60% young people, and children are included in that that 60% plus. TRRC understand the fact that we are having a mandate of ensuring what happened here in the 22 years of the past government with regards to human rights violations never happen again. Thus, we have a slogan called the Never Again.
And with the delighted kids demanding for more of such summit in the different regions of the country, I asked the coordinator where and how they would tap the funds to meet the kids' demand.
A lot of people will think TRRC is rich because people have had a lot of millions been mentioned and TRRC's name mentioned, and people are always thinking, TRRC must be having money. And in fact, if people see staff of TRRC, they will say, you people are money people, you are rich, which is actually not the case. TRRC really needs support in terms of finance, in terms of any way, and that is why even there is no activity, there is no event that we can do if there are no funds. This thing we are doing is funded by UNDP, UN Transitional Justice System, supporting it. There is nothing TRRC can do that they can say we have enough of money to be able to do these things by ourselves. Everything that we are doing is being funded. So what we will encourage is institutions in the Gambia, institutions outside, anywhere, come up and support any aspect of TRRC that you think.
Senabu Sambu, a participant and a student from Nasir Ahmadiyya Muslim Senior Secondary School in URR, said the summit have done a great impact on her understanding, as it has changed her perspective of the TRRC. She also understands that even though the perpetrators of the Jammeh regime are at fault, those offended should forgive for the Gambia we all want. According to Senabu Sambu, before the summit, she alongside her mates at home thought TRRC has only come to add more problems, not figuring out that TRRC is here to help.
Because before the TRRC will come, in school, people will start talking about the president, saying that he must come back, we must do that, this and that to him. But right now in our class, if we are talking about the president, some people will be there talking, insulting. If I told them that this, you should not insult, because here what he have done, he have already done it and go. We should just forgive him. It's better than bringing him here back. The TRRC is the one who taught me that. That's why I go and tell them that. So they also come.
Yusufa Jaite, also a participant in a school from Nyani Upper and Senior Secondary School, said the summit has set the pace for them to follow and also give them the opportunity to interact with new friends. He said such a gathering should be organized frequently that would enhance their understanding about the TRRC, noting as children who should be part of the nation building.
Our government, they should open a children parliament, whereby children will discuss their issues that are affecting them, psychologically or emotionally, whereby children will also have the access to discuss some of their problems or issues affecting them.
With students calling for more of this program to be held in all the different regions of the country, authorities at the TRRC are quite hopeful to keep the dream of the children alive. But financing is the real barrier, as they urge NGOs and other partners to come forward and help sponsor the TRRC to be able to execute some of its responsibilities. For iAfrica News, Sajo Sambo reporting from Mansa Konko in Lower River Region.
A United Nations spokesperson has confirmed that Secretary General Antonio Guterres has responded to an open letter sent by the President of Venezuela's National Assembly, Juan Guaido. The letter, which Guaido uploaded to Twitter, requested the United Nations to provide emergency humanitarian aid to Venezuela. Here is an insight.
Respond to the letter sent via Twitter by the President of the General Assembly, Juan Guaido, which was sent earlier this week. The Secretary General reiterated that what he's already said publicly in his letter, which is basically his concern regarding the crisis in the country and the impact that it is having with the Venezuelan people. He said the United Nations is ready to increase its activities in Venezuela in the areas of humanitarian assistance and development. However, he said that for this, the United Nations needs the consent and the cooperation of the government. The Secretary General again underscored that recognizing governments is not for the Secretariat and for member states, and he noted that his relations with member states, he respects decisions taken particularly by the General Assembly and the Security Council, and he reiterated in his letter the availability of his good offices to help find a political solution. On the humanitarian issue, our colleagues at UNICEF and the Pan American Health Organization are scaling up assistance and already subject to the availability of resources to do more. We've already scaled up in terms of health, nutrition, protection, and we are continuing to try increasing them as much as possible.
Coming up after the break, one of the April 10 and 11, 2000 victims, Seni Senghor, has urged the Gambia government to repeal the Indemnity Act so as perpetrators of the student riot could be brought to justice.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
Banjul Breweries Wolkola nata nananga bindu Kukuto nata nananga bindu Wolkola nata nananga bindu Kukuto nata Wolkola nata Wolkola nata Wolkola nata de Wolkola nata Wolkola nata Wolkola nata de la chawarte defar sa yaram Banjul Breweries in the Najendi Jilen Wol kola kola wol kola kola wol kola wol kola nata wol kola nata wol kola nata de wol kola nata wol kola nata wol kola nata de wol kola nata wol kola nata wol kola nata de wol kola nata wol kola nata wol kola nata de.
Proudly brought to you by Banjul Breweries.
Welcome back. We remind you that you're watching the World Today Evening Bulletin. Let's now take a look at the remaining stories. One of the April's 10 and 11 victims, Seni Senghor, has urged the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission to come up with good recommendations for the victims of April 2000 students' riots. He challenged the Gambia government to repeal the Indemnity Act so as to bring the perpetrators of the students' riot to justice. Seni made this remark in Mansakonko when caught up with our reporter at the just ended Children's Summit. Adama Kamara has more.
One of the April 10 and 11 2000 victims, Seni Senghor, has urged the Gambian government to repeal the Indemnity Act so as the perpetrators of the student riot could be brought to justice. Seni made this remark in Mansakonko when caught up with our reporter Sajo Sambu at the just ended Children's Summit. Seni said on April 10, 2000, while he was from school, he and his colleagues were attacked by some police officers and he was unfortunately shot and fell unconscious, and when he woke up, he found himself at Esau Health Center.
No, I was shot by gun by the police on April 11, 2000. This occurred in the North Bank region. Coming from school, the police intercepted us on the way with my brother and other colleagues. I was about to turn and run. Then I felt something struck my leg. So I have to tell my brother that I felt something on my leg. It seems like I am shot. So he wanted to come back and help, but I have to tell him, you have to get away from here. If not, you too will be shot and you have to rush. Luckily, the neighbors around where I was shot were the ones that came to my aid and helped me, take me to their compound. It was not too far from the main hospital in Esau, where they rushed me to the hospital. And then I have my first aid there.
Continuing his audit, Seni Senghor said that he was rushed to the Royal Victoria Teaching Hospital, where his blood was removed. But due to the seriousness of his shot, he and other colleagues were recommended by the doctor to further treatment in UK. Seni added that the Minister of Health opposed the recommendation, citing that they might abscond by seeking asylum to tarnish the image of the country, and they were sent to Egypt for treatment, with the government only paying for 1 month treatment. But luckily for them, the Egyptian doctors paid for their treatment for the remaining 2 months.
They decided that they are going to evacuate us to overseas, to have an overseas treatment, me, Yusuf Ambai, and Asan Suare. Then there were a lot of Egyptian doctors in RVH. So first time they recommended taking us to Europe or America. I think it was in the UK or America. But then some members of the hospital board, I don't know them, but they're the one that told the minister then that these people, if you take them to Europe or America, they may not come back because of the Gambians and the diaspora that are condemning like what the government did to them.
Seni concluded by thanking the Gambian diaspora for their support, especially Sol Menga, who really supported them. He also appealed to the Gambian government to remove the Indemnity Act so that the police that shot them can be brought to book. and that the TRRC should come up with good recommendations for the victims of April 10 and 11, 2000. Reporting for iAfrica TV, I am Adamaka.
At least 8 people were reported dead in the U.S. because of freezing temperatures brought in by a large swath of Arctic air known as the polar vortex. The latest death was reported when the University of Iowa student Gerald Bells died after being found unresponsive in the cold. Officials believe the death was weather-related. Sajo Sambu has more.
At least 8 people were reported dead in the U.S. because of freezing temperatures. The latest death was reported yesterday when the University of Iowa student Garrett Blaze died after being found unresponsive in the cold, where the wind chill reached -51 degrees. Officials believe the death was winter-related. In Illinois, an 82-year-old man died in the cold after falling while attempting to enter his home. 2 other deaths were also reported in Michigan, as well as 2 in Indiana and another in Illinois. A 55-year-old man in Wisconsin was found frozen to death in his garage after collapsing while shoveling snow, according to a local report. The cool air has swept through the Midwest, with more than 2 million Americans feeling temperatures below freezing. In Midwest and Great Lakes regions, residents have felt temperatures as cold as -63 degrees, which, if exposed, can cause frostbite in 5 minutes. In Chicago, the temperatures went down to -21 degrees, close to breaking the record for the lowest ever recorded at -27 degrees. The cool air is headed towards the northeast U.S. Thursday, bringing below freezing temperatures to cities including Boston, New York, and Philadelphia. Reporting for iAfrica TV News, Sajo Sambu.
The United Nations High Representative for the Alliance of Civilizations, Michael Angel Moratinos, told journalists in New York that the fight against terrorism is at the heart of the Alliance of Civilization. In his first press conference since he was appointed as United Nations Secretary General, new High Representative for the Alliance of Civilization on 20th November 2018. Moratinos said the Alliance is trying to understand why some migrants are rejected, at the same time understanding why the other side is trying to apply for a better life for the whole relatives and family. Here is an insight from Miguel Angel.
Refugees, migration, and of course the heart of the alliance, it is the fight against terrorism. How we deconstruct to the mentality and the heart of these fanatics, how to understand that we have a different religion, different position, but we have and we should have an understanding and a better, relation with each of us. Why from both sides? From the people who did say, well, where they're coming? But these immigrants are coming to us. They're taking us our post. And then the others say, no, I have the right to live. I need to maintain my family. So the alliance can bring certain ideas to make them to understand each other, to understand why somebody are rejecting the people, and at the same time, understanding why the other side is trying to apply for a better life for the whole relatives and families.
Alliance of Civilization was established in 2005 by former Secretary General Kofi Annan to explore the roots of polarization between societies and cultures today and to recommend a practical program of action to address these issues. Well, viewers, that's all we have for you on the Today Evening Bulletin. For more on these and other stories, log on to our website, iafrica.tv. I'm Alassane Cissé. Bye for now.
Fear over electoral rigging rocks Zimbabwe as the country.
Yesterday, after listening to Prime Minister May's assessment of the state of the negotiations,
محمد ذي الجود فك ينتبي صلى الله عليه وسلم mu ngi taxaw mu toog jonkon.
Why it is our diocesan patron feast day is because the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Assumption is dedicated.
Do not have it in their mindset or in their psyche that we are playing against Algeria.